great to be here. Thank you so much to the organizers, to Arjun, and to Capital on Stage. I've been privileged to participate in Capital on Stage today for the 4th time. I spent 2 times in Berlin, 1 time in New York. So I really love this format because I think it's only fair to the entrepreneurs that we turn the tables from time to time and that the venture capitalists get up here and justify their existence. You know, I think it's very important. I don't want to repeat everything that I said in the previous presentations at Capital on Stage. And one of the great things about their format is they have all those old videos on their website. So I really encourage you to go to the website of Capital on Stage and look at the old videos. If you want to look at mine, you're welcome to do so. I'm going to try to just very briefly encapsulate what I said in the previous ones, and then launch onto 2 new topics that I think are important. The way I think about this flipping the tables is, if I were in your shoes as an entrepreneur, and by the way, I was an entrepreneur for 12 years, and so I can relate to your situation. If I were in your shoes, I would make the same kind of a due diligence list that the venture capitalists make before they start to dig into your company, but I would make it about the venture capitalists. And in some of these previous ones, I've explored topics like persistence. I think it's an important characteristic for an entrepreneur, but also for a venture capitalist. And just one little note about persistence here. This cap is not UBS, the bank. This is the Chicago Cubs, our baseball team in the town I grew up in. The Chicago Cubs won the World Series this year. For those of you who aren't baseball fans, that's a big thing in the United States. And the last time they won it was in the year 1908. In 1908, 108 years ago, my grandfather was 6 years old, right? People went to the ballpark on horses. So I think we can talk about persistence. These guys have been at it for a long time, and they finally got the big exit, if you will, the big result. And so I've talked about persistence from time to time here. I've talked about the importance of the team. You have a team. When we're venture guys, we look at your team, we scrutinize it. You should do the same. Look at our teams. We also talk about customers. We try to call up your customers when we're doing due diligence. I've encouraged you to do the same. Call up our customers. Those are the other entrepreneurs. You know, call up people who've gotten money from target partners and say, how was it? You know, did they do what they said they were going to do? Are they good people to work with? Do they have a long-term attitude, etc.? I talked about a number of other things in those old videos. And what I'd like to focus on maybe today, because I think they're very important topics for that due diligence list I mentioned. One of them is competition, and the other one is working together with the people that you're going to work with. In terms of competition, in any free market where there is some level of competition, over time, there's more variety of offerings. I learned this a long time ago as a consultant at Bain & Company early in my career when we explored the drapery market. It seems like a really boring market. We had the biggest drapery manufacturer in the world. And what we discovered when we analyzed that is over the years from the 50s until, at that time, the early 80s, the price per square foot of drapery did not change. In real terms, it was the same. But what you had over that 30-year period was an explosion in the variety of drapery, in the price points of drapery, and you even had the emergence of new forms of window coverings. And I think you see that in all competitive markets, and we're seeing it right now in the market for money. And in sense of competition, when you look at venture, I think it's a wonderful time to be an entrepreneur because you have so much more choice. You can go to corporate venture capitalists with every flavor. You can go to their incubators, their accelerators. You can go to family offices. You can go to various kinds of venture capitalists. And I encourage you to think about that very carefully and pick the right partner. Johannes was talking about getting married to the venture capitalist. That is true. And fortunately, there's a lot more women at the bar than there used to be, or men, depending on your perspective. So you have more choice, and you should do your due diligence on that competitive environment.